As a kid, I suffered from crippling anxiety and was easily scared of the mildest of things I saw on television. Luckily, as an adult, I fear no media whatsoever and instead have crippling social anxiety. The thing is that it wasn't really consistent. There are certain things that I feel like should have scared me but didn't. Like, I was a kid and I loved watching Jaws, I loved Gremlins. I was totally fine with that. But then there were other things that really shouldn't have scared me but did nonetheless. And so I thought I'd make a list of these kind of obscure, kind of more unique fears that I had, and I hope you enjoy it.
Was that live? Are we live?
Okay, so to start off this list, let's begin with Miss Spider's Sunny Patch Friends, which was an animated show meant to be watched by children. And I loved watching it as a kid. I was a fan of bugs in general, and I remember it being a feel-good show. I even remember sobbing during an episode where Squirt learns that it's okay for big kids to cry. So why, pray tell, in this cute little show meant for small children, would the creators add this to the series? This is Spiderus, a character who can only be described as pure nightmare fuel. The white skin, the red lip, he's pretty much the original creepypasta. Oh, and that's just his appearance in the series, you see. The pilot movie of the program had his mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. I shit you not! And that's not even to mention the fact that the dude would constantly threaten to eat the kids. This character is just so jarring from the rest of the show to the point where I wonder just what the hell they were thinking when adding him to the cast.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Ice Age 2 was obviously not a horror movie.
Sorry.
But there was one element in particular that legitimately frightened me. And that was pretty much anything involving the sea creature dinosaurs. Their reveal scene is genuinely unnerving. And the follow-up scenes where they literally kill this turtle dude was just too much for my little heart. R.I.P. little turtle dude. R.I.P. Men in Black 2 had a lot of weird shit that could understandably leave a frightful thought in the mind of a child watching it. However, it wasn't any of the aliens that sent a shiver down my spine as a kid. Rather, it was this.
Go.
Zed, the Jolocks are gone and the treaty is signed.
Yeah, okay. So at the time, I had no idea who Michael Jackson was, and this, face just freaked me the fuck out. Kind of like Spiderus, it's the pale skin, the reddish lips, along with the large empty void between the eyes. Ugh. It was just a case of Uncanny Valley, I guess. And is it just me, or does this era of Michael Jackson bear a strange resemblance to Anya Taylor-Joy, who I ironically find attractive? Well, that was until the fucking doll maker got to her, that is. Hashtag bring back the buckle fat!
Hey, what do these do?
Nothing. They're my nipples.
I really did like the Muppets as a kid. I mean, Muppets from Space, Kermit's Swamp Years, and even the fever dream that was Muppets Wizard of Oz.
Are you sure there isn't anything else I could do you for?
No. You see, I already have a girlfriend. She's a chicken.
Oh. A chicken, eh?
Yeah.
Well, does she have a big beak? Like this?
How do you know?
And does she have huge, floppy wings? Like this?
Those wings? No. I'm not here for that. I've just come here to get
Did you know that Quentin beat his meat to your feet Tarantino was in this shit?
Scooter turning into a big, busty vampire vixen who explodes in a sea of crimson blood. All done in the classic Japanese anime style, you know, like for the kids.
What a fucking odd cameo to have in your kids' movie. But one thing I absolutely could not stand to look at whenever she appeared on screen was Janice. She still creeps me out to this day. The lips, the eyes, the everything. I vividly remember a nightmare I had about her one night. Or you know what, that's enough of that. I really just don't want to talk about her anymore. I don't want to look at her anymore. That's just how uncomfortable she makes me. So let's just move on.
Do the roar.
Okay, so I got the autisms. And contrary to what you'll see in the media, yes, I do in fact have feelings. In fact, and I know many others on the spectrum, actually experience hyper-empathy. Thus, I am very sensitive to all types of injustices, especially towards animals. Like, yeah, I'll be upset if I see some impoverished kid starving, but if I see roadkill while driving, I'll be like,
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
So the next thing on this list isn't something that scared me, but rather outright traumatized me. Shrek is awesome. The first two movies are cinematic masterpieces. That being said, in the first Shrek, there are two scenes that to this day rattle me. In being subversive to Disney's classic princess singing with a songbird, Princess Fiona sings in harmony with a bird, but when she hits a high note, the bird fucking explodes. God, this scene is just so gruesome. Just look at the way they animated the poor bird inflating. And to make it worse, Fiona proceeds to take its eggs and eat its fucking children. Like, holy shit! She literally just murdered this mother and devoured her babies. That's fucking dark, dude! And not too long after that, during their little romantic montage, Shrek and Fiona make balloon animals for each other, which would be sweet if it weren't for the fact that they made them out of actual living animals. God, oh my god, can you imagine the pain of being blown up and contorted in such a way? And worst of all, they end up letting them go as we watch them float away into the sky. Oh god, just the thought of these poor creatures knowing that they're gonna die due to lack of food or oxygen and being unable to do anything about it is just stomach churning. Where the hell is PETA when you need them? Oh yeah.
Happiness steps up to greet me.
Spider-Man 2. Wait a second, I'm starting to see a pattern here. I should probably stop watching sequels. Anyways, I love Spider-Man. When I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old, I saw the original Sam Raimi movie in theaters, and I've been a fan ever since. Surprisingly, I didn't find the Green Goblin scenes too frightening, though they definitely unnerved me a bit. But what was genuinely terrifying was the hospital scene in Spider-Man 2. Having gotten his start as a horror director, Raimi loves to sprinkle in horror elements into his movies, no matter the genre. And unluckily for me, he just had to go and place this utterly brutal scene of Doc Ock's tentacles absolutely slaughtering this poor hospital staff. Tiny little me was completely blindsided by this sudden tonal shift. Specifically, the image of the nurse digging her nails into the floor as she's dragged away haunted me for quite a while. I remember a few years later when Spider-Man 3 came out and my dad asked me if I wanted to go, and the only thing I could think of was,
No.
I'm good. Which actually disappointed him because Spider-Man was kind of our bonding thing, and this only got worse a few years later when The Amazing Spider-Man came out, and I asked him if he wanted to go with me to see it. He was just like, nah. But I still think he was butthurt over the Spider-Man 2 thing, and our relationship has never recovered since. So basically, I blame Sam Raimi for ruining the relationship between me and my father. Thanks a lot, jerk.
Scooby-Doo! Where are you? He said it!
Scooby-Doo was a big part of my childhood. And despite the hundreds of monsters I watched the gang unmask throughout the endless shows and movies, I can only recall two that unnerved me. Firstly were the demons from the first live-action movie.
There is absolutely no such thing.
Yeah, I know, they're CGI monstrosities and look pretty ridiculous. But as a kid, these things freaked me out. I mean, they have all the markings of an uncanny valley monster, tall and lanky, yet fast and strong. The other monster that gave me the old
Jeepers!
was the Chupacabra from Scooby-Doo and the Monster of Mexico. Now, to be clear, it wasn't the goofy-ass monster itself that frightened me, but rather the floating eyes of the monster in the opening credits. Don't ask me why, but these stupid CG eyeballs scared the ever-loving shit out of child me. I remember hiding behind my couch during this sequence every time I watched the movie. To this day, I'm not really sure why they scared me. The only thing I can think of is maybe I was scared of the eyes somehow popping out of the screen whenever they flew towards it. I don't know. Side tangent. This movie was fucking bad, dude. I mean, seriously, why on flat Earth would the writers call this thing a Chupacabra when the design literally screams Mexican Bigfoot? As a cryptid enthusiast, I'm genuinely offended by this misclassification. Oh, and don't even get me started on the Donald Trump cameo.
Well, I don't know how to speak Spanish. Why can't everyone just learn English?
As a kid, and even, honestly, really even to now, I've always found stop-motion animation to be just freaky. Well, specifically claymation, stop motion animation. I'm totally fine with like Lego stop motion and action figure stop motion, but when it comes to the claymation, like The Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas, as a kid, I was just petrified of ever seeing a commercial for them, ever seeing them play on TV, just anything. I remember one time I was in Target and I saw a DVD for The Corpse Bride, and this is pretty much exactly what happened.
Oh God!
I really don't know what it is about claymation specifically that creeps me out. It just does.
You see, Purloin's a guy.
Finally, we have to go all the way back to the Ruby and Sapphire series of the Pokemon anime. Okay, this one's a pretty deep cut, as it involves a super specific scene that's been burnt into my memory ever since I watched it as a kid. There's a side character named Harley who acts as May's rival throughout the show. And from the moment May meets him, he shows an extreme disdain for her, much to her bewilderment.
But that's just so rotten!
Please, cry me a river.
What she doesn't know is that she's met him before, all the way back to when they were school kids. Here, I'll just show you the scene.
Lunchtime was supposed to be my happy time. The time when the pressures of school and all those obnoxious kitty poos could roll off my back ever so briefly. As always, I had saved one final scrumptious snacky for last.
Guess you're not hungry anymore. I'll eat it for you, okay? Oh, there! The snacky's all gone! Aren't I good?
That's right, this bitch! I'm sorry, man, I don't mean that. I love you. You were my childhood crushes video, link in the description below. Without hesitation, yoinks this poor boy's food away without his consent and gobbles it down like the sin of gluttony she is. I literally cried when I watched this because I felt Harley's pain on a personal level. I always save the best for last, and I think because of my autisms, I know I would be left devastated if this happened to me. His whole motivation for disliking her is treated as a joke, but you know what? Nah. This ain't some petty shit. This is some real well-deserved hatred, and I, for one, demand justice for Harley, who has been villainized for far too long! So yeah, those are the things off the top of my head that I remember really scaring me or traumatizing me as a kid. Though there is one more thing that I'm very reluctant to go over, because I've buried it deep down in the recesses of my mind. Because it really freaked me out. So I'm definitely hesitant to ever revisit that because I'd rather not, but I might do that for a future video. So until then, let me know in the comments below if any of you ever found any of the things I listed today in any form scary or traumatizing or whatever. It would really validate my feelings right now, because some of this stuff I kind of feel really stupid for thinking was ever scary. Yeah. I need something clever and witty to end the video on. I need a joke.